Hey guys, hope you're having a great day so far. Back in the studio, so it'll be a little bit better, the quality and everything today than it was last night. Last night was an emergency, so I had to jump on and make sure that we were able to get that information out while it was happening. So, but now we're back in the studio. Now we have better quality, better audio, better video. So everything should be a little bit better today. So, like I said, I hope you guys are having a great day. I just want to talk a little bit about what's happening with Bitcoin. You know what's going on. Just discuss where Bitcoin can go. Come up with some price predictions, and just have a general conversation on where Bitcoin's going and what could possibly happen. Not just in the short term, but also in the long term. Um, and just talk about it. So somebody says no one knows where Bitcoin is going. All right, that's a good point, Kevin. But you don't. I mean, that's why we live our life in probability, right? Because you're not 100% sure if you get in your car, you coming home that night. Nothing you do in this life is sure. Nothing in the whole world. Nothing we do is sure. Nothing is sure. But we base our lives on probability, right? So it's a 99.9% chance I get in my car, go to the store, I'm going to come back, right? But nobody's sure. Nobody knows exactly if you're really going to come back. So when we look at these things like Bitcoin, investment, stocks, whatever, we base it on probability. Like what's the most likely path for Bitcoin, right? Not nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows anything for sure, right? So let's move on. So like I said, we do have the super chat down at the bottom of the screen now. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you like this content. I'd really appreciate it if you guys did that. Like the video and if you guys would, I would really appreciate that if you guys could do that for me. So like this video. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to this channel. Right. So let's move on. Uh, Seeing something right now. All right. So like I said, I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope everything's going good. So let's break down. Like we talked about last night, there's a few reasons what's happened. Let's first of all let's bring up the chart because I think if we bring up what's happened with Bitcoin, that helps us out a lot. So right now it's at 43. It actually got down to 42 earlier today. Right now it's at about 43. Let's bring this up real fast. Give me a second. I'm gonna bring the Chrome tab up. We're gonna share this Chrome tab. We're gonna make it. All right, so here we go. So right now, Bitcoin is at 43,195, right? So right now, so it's down about highest has been with 68. We down about 33, 34% roughly. I'm just doing it in my head. And a lot of people are panicking, but the thing about it is that you have to understand that we want to talk about a few things there. We want to talk about Bitcoin is a volatile asset, right? It's not like stocks, it's not like real estate. The way that the market works and the way that it's still a risky asset, it's still basically a new technology, a new concept in the world. So whenever something is new or just emerging, there's a lot more what's called volatility. Volatility is how much, in layman's terms, how much a stock moves over, like the average price of a stock going forward, right? How much is this stock going to go up and down past that mean? How much is the variance going to be, right? How much is going to go up? How much is going to drop? Stocks that do it more are considered higher volatility stocks and assets. Assets and stocks that do it less are considered less volatile assets, right? So Bitcoin is a highly volatile and still considered a risky asset, right? So whenever there's uncertainty in the world, whenever there's uncertainty in an industry, whenever there's uncertainty in anything related to markets, the most risky assets get sold off first, right? So with COVID, with this new variant coming out, and nobody really knows what's going to happen, that's uncertainty. When the feds come out the other day and say they're going to regulate Bitcoin more, that's uncertainty. When we get reports about jobs dropping, people quitting, all this stuff is uncertainty. So an investor or a bank or an elite or whoever, they will sell off the most risky assets first in those situations, right? Including higher risk stocks, growth stocks, stocks that have went up a lot over the year, All these things, they're considered, and people will flock to things like gold. They're less volatile assets like gold. Gold doesn't move that much. It's less volatile. So that's what it's called, safe havens. That's what happens in a risky time. So Bitcoin is part of the riskiest. It's basically you can't. It's considered a very risky asset in the financial world, even though I don't think it is, but it still is. So it creates a lot of volatility in the market. It creates a lot of upward and downward movements. It creates a lot of this that we see in the charts, right? So I want to do something right now. Let's bring a whole let's bring a chart of Bitcoin since inception, right? Let me see if I can get it a little bit better. All right, so let's take a look at this Bitcoin chart, and I want to show you guys something. We're going to break it down. If I can get it a little bigger, I want to tell you what I've been now. For those of you just joining that don't really know me or anything like that, I've been in Bitcoin for like almost 10 years now. I've been in crypto for 10 years. I have I studied it in college. I mean, I studied cryptology in college. I've won an award for by IBM, a national award for my innovations in cryptocurrency. I have my own cryptocurrency, right? I've sold a company, artificial intelligence engine that predicted the movements of crypto. I've been in this a lot. I'm just not some dude online talking or whatever. Just got into it 6 months ago. I've been in this through almost every cycle since the inception of Bitcoin, right? So, in this, like we talk about short term with Bitcoin price, nobody really knows, right? We could be in a crash, we could be pushing into a bear market, or it could go to 150,000 by this summer. Right now, it's like 50-50, right? Because we're not 100% sure. I'm going to tell you the reasons why it's 50-50. The reasons why it's like that is because we could be at the end of the bull market cycle. And if we are at the end of the bull market cycle, which is roughly 18 months, all of these other issues are going to do nothing but trigger it. And then we're just going to go into a bear market for another 2 years, right? Let me see. All right, so we got somebody. I'm going to bring this up, man, because somebody's talking crazy. So we got a guy. I want to actually put this up here because I want to prove something to you. So this guy Tony says, "I lost so much money with you, and I wish I could get my money back from the Discord." Now, if you've been losing money in the Discord, that's crazy because like right now, I could do this for you. I could say, everybody who's made money in the Discord put some money back. Now, if you're part of the minority that's losing money over the last 2 years, and I hate to say this, is that something you're not doing right, Tony. You didn't practice risk management. You got greedy about a bunch of stocks, or you didn't understand truly what you were doing. That's the only way possible. You could have lost money in the Discord in the last 6 months because we've had like an 80-90% win rate. How is that possible? And I'm sorry, I don't mean to put anybody out, but how is that humanly possible, right? What's happening is these people go into these things. They go into these things and they don't know what they're doing. And we practice that constantly, risk management and knowledge. And people will hear about these things. They get referred by somebody, go in there and just start taking plays, not knowing how to do an option, not knowing what cryptocurrency even is, not knowing what a stock is. Then they lose a bunch of money and they want somebody to blame, so they blame somebody else, right? So it doesn't even we just made a bunch of money this morning. How is that possible? And I don't want to call anybody out, but this doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. Right? And that's what I'm saying is that we have to stop blaming others. We have to stop blaming others. We have to take responsibility for our own things. Because when you take responsibility, you know what happens? Is that I said, well, maybe I didn't, since everybody else make money, I lost money. Maybe I need to change my approach. And now you will analyze all the decisions you made, figure out where you went wrong, and then the next time you'll be stronger. Now, if I blame somebody else, then that means I don't take the responsibility and I don't learn from my mistakes. I just, oh man, the dude tricked me and I just quit. So even the way that you're thinking right now is a negative mindset, and it's going to cause you to continue to lose, right? Take responsibility for what you did wrong and then just say, look, man, I'm going to get better the next time. I mean, I lost money, but it was a learning experience, right? So I just want to make sure because I'm not going to run from anything. If somebody says something, I'm going to talk about it, right? So I'm sorry you lost money, but like I said, I mean, If we were losing money in the Discord, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe it did. But then over the last year, we've been all making money. How is that possible? It doesn't even make sense, right? So let's move on. So, like I said, I'm going to answer questions from you guys, but the people who do the super chat option will get answered questions, priority questions. So, like I said, if you like what we've done so far, you've been making money, you've been doing good. Click the super chat down at the bottom and show your support for this channel and for the platform. So back to what I was saying is that Bitcoin right now, right, is at a real dangerous position, right? It could go to 150 or it can go back down to 30 or maybe lower, right? So the next, like I said, up until about January 15, 20 is going to be very, very serious in the life of Bitcoin, right? So what's going to possibly happen? What we can do, right, is that I'm not buying right now. I'm not trying to predict the dip. I'm not like right now, I think is a very dangerous time to be trying to. This is my opinion. And like I said, you can do whatever you want. But my opinion in this is that is that this is a dangerous time in crypto. I'm personally going to withdraw from the market and watch and observe and see what happens. And if it drops any lower down to 20 in the 20s or the 30s, that's when I'll start making my decision. Or if it keeps going up to 150. So back to what I was saying. Some people are asking how you get into the Discord. So if you go into the, let me see if I can do this. Give me a second here. Give me one second. Let me put this link up there. You keep people asking about it. Mhm. All right. So if you click the link in my bio, you'll see the link for the Discord. I just added it back in there. So if you look under the, if you look at this video in the comments, sorry, in the description, there should be a link to the Discord. And also you can click the link in my bio on Instagram or whatever. So back to what I was saying is that right now, I'm sitting here, I'm just observing what's happening with the Bitcoin market. Even with stocks right now, I'm kind of like going to withdraw from the market for about a week and just watch what happens. Uh, we still got the options going on in the CNC or whatever, but we're going to sit and watch any big plays. I'm going to hold off on just see where everything's going to go. Like I said, sometimes the best decision you can make in investing in business, stocks, crypto, or whatever, is the decision not to do anything. And a lot of times beginners get confused with that. They're thinking like they got to always be doing something or taking advantage or trying to short it or trying to do puts or whatever. But sometimes the best decision is to stay out of it and just watch and observe, see what happens, and then make a decision based on other data that's coming in the future. It does sometimes it doesn't make sometimes even in business right now, some even in like general business, whatever business you're running, sometimes the best decision is no decision. And that's what it is. And that's what I'm doing right now, just watching things. But back to what I was saying, short term, Bitcoin could drop down to 20, drop down to 30. But let's talk about long term, right? Because long term, we got a very, very high probability of Bitcoin going past 100 into 150, 200,000, right? And it's all because of the halving, right? And like I said, we've discussed the halving before. Is when the supply of Bitcoin that come to the market, supply of Bitcoin that come to the world or whatever, it gets cut in half, right? So right now, 6.25 Bitcoin get created every 10 minutes, right? Through the mining process. I'm not going to go into that, but in 2024, let me see. In 2000, I think it's, let me look it up. I'm pretty sure it's in 2024. Let me make sure. I don't want to give you guys wrong information. Okay, so in 2020 in March of 2024, right now it can change, but it's right now it's March 2024. The supply will be cut to 3.125. So that means half as many Bitcoins are going to come to market on that date. And that's what's coded in the Bitcoin. That's what's coded in Bitcoin. That's what's ordered. It's there, right? So it has to happen. And normally when that happens, it's happened twice before. The price of Bitcoin skyrockets for 18 months, roughly. And it happened the first time, happened the second time, and now we're in the third cycle, right? And it's just happened again. So now the crazy thing is that we're exactly 18 months from the last halving. So that's why I'm saying is that it could be that we're in a bear market now, and that's it, that it lasted exactly 18 months, right? So let's take a look at this chart, right? The first halving in Bitcoin's history was, I think, was March of was I think it was March or early year of 2016, right? So that was right. If we look at this chart right here, that happened right about here, right now, right about here, right? So Bitcoin is pretty much stable, $600. So we go 18 months after that, right? What's 18 months? We got the big boom in Bitcoin. It went all the way up. It went from 600 to 16, 20,000 roughly, because of the first halving, right? So now after that happened, it crashes down and retracts roughly, 60, 70% on average, and it actually goes down more and it retracts a lot more. But see, even the after the halving happens, the lowest Bitcoin ever got was like 3,600, 3,500. But the previous peak before the halving was 600. So we were still up, 1 to 5 times, right? That's the lowest it ever got. Then it started to recover, or a mean gets created, or the return, reversion to the mean. And then we got another halving, which was in May of 2020, right? Bitcoin was roughly at 9,000. 18 months later, we got a 60, what? Let me see, we got a 65, $66,000 price, right? It crashes right after. And like I said, it could go down 60%, roughly 70%. So that means if it goes down 70%, that means that's why it's important to understand the market cycles, because a lot of us in the Discord, in my communities, in my mentorship, we got in at 3,000. So even if Bitcoin does retract from that high, let me see times divide. See times what? Times point. Let's say zero point 0.4. So even if Bitcoin does retract all the way back down 60, 70%, we'll be at 25,000. So we got it at 3,000. We're still way up, 10 to almost 8 times up, right? So then after the next halving comes in May of 2022, and then 2024, I'm sorry. And then we're going to see an 18-month push again, right? Because Bitcoin was created with the sole purpose of that happening. Now I need you guys to do something for me, right? So I'm looking at my numbers here, and I only got like 70 likes, but it's 600 people in this live. I need you guys to like this content right now and subscribe if you haven't done so, right? So we got 87 likes. That's ridiculous. We got 600 people in here. I need you guys to like this video. I need you guys to like it. I need you guys to subscribe if you haven't done so. You know, nobody's buying the super chat, which is weird, or that's kind of. That's what I like. That's what I like to see. Dalia Cortez. Still made a little money. You weren't even going 100%. So, but then 2022, you're going to go 100%. I hope. I appreciate that super chat, GK. Thank you. I appreciate you, Patrick, for that super chat. 4.99. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you. So, like I said, is that Bitcoin, it's not going to zero. I just put that in there to answer the questions that people ask. Bitcoin will never go to zero, just like gold will never go to zero. It's always going to be a use case for Bitcoin forever. Even if the government bans it, they're still going to use it for something, right? Something all over the world. It's too strong of a technology. It's too propagated in all the world. It's too many people using it. It'll never go away, right? So we're not worried about that, right? But where it's going to go is like 150. I'm telling you, in the next cycle, 150 is going to seem like small, right? I remember when Bitcoin was at 3,000, 50,000 sounded crazy. Even where it's at now, 43,000, 43,000 sounded crazy for Bitcoin a year and a half ago. That's how fast things change, man. is that a year and a half ago, if you went back and told people, "Man, Bitcoin's gonna be at 45,000," people would have said you was crazy. Ain't no way it's going that high. Ain't no way this imaginary internet money is gonna be $45,000 coin. It's impossible. My first Bitcoin I ever bought was $80. You see what I'm saying? $80. So I would have never, if somebody would have told me it was going to go to 30,000, I would have said, "You're crazy." I said, the best I thought was like 1,000. Well, at least I make 12 times my money. That's the best I thought back then. But we weren't really looking at it as an investment back then. So, but I would have never thought, I would have never thought it would have went up that high. The Discord link is not working. Yeah, it is. The Discord link is working. Just click the link in the at the bottom. Who just paid $5? I don't see anybody. Okay, so there we go. So Patrick says, if Bitcoin does crash, will it crash XRP and Mana? Now, this is where I think things are, right? This is where I think things are. Is that the thing about Bitcoin is that it's like the reserve currency for all of crypto, right? So what I mean by that is that anytime, and I'm going to show it to you on the screen. Anytime most cryptos, the biggest, like it's like a currency trading, it's currency pairs basically, right? So when you look at something like let's say Bitcoin, right? You look at Bitcoin. Now let's look at XRP, right? We're looking at XRP. Let's look at XRP, and I'm going to show you something, right? So XRP, the price of XRP is an aggregate price that's based on different trading pairs all over the internet on different exchanges, right? That's not every exchange has its own price based and the price is derived from either Bitcoin, another currency, or US dollar. So if we look at, for example, the markets on XRP, what we'll see here is we'll see USDT, and we'll see Bitcoin. You'll see Bitcoin is one of the biggest trading pairs of XRP, and that makes up how much percent of the volume? 1.15, 1 point. That one makes up 1 point. So, but probably about 20-30% of the overall volume. Here's another one, maybe 40% of the overall volume as it regards to XRP is based in Bitcoin, right? So that means that when people buy XRP, maybe half the people in the world are using Bitcoin to buy it, right? So the price of XRP is based on the price of Bitcoin. Just like almost every other altcoin that's ever, if you go down, almost all the altcoins have the same situation, right? So we go here, we look at Dogecoin, for example, and we look at the market, we'll see the same situation, right? Is that we'll see USD and you'll see Bitcoin as being one of the biggest trading pairs, right? Right. So what happens? What happens with that is that because Bitcoin is used so much to buy other currencies, that a lot of the other altcoins, the price of the altcoins are based in Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin falls, it drags everybody else down with it, right? Like we can see in the market, we see all red. So even if a coin is supposed to be doing good, even if a coin, all of it's red, it doesn't matter because Bitcoin is linked to all of these coins. So because Bitcoin is linked to so many altcoins, every altcoin will fall when Bitcoin takes losses. And in most cases, the losses will be bigger, right? For example, if Bitcoin falls 7%, you're going to see Ethereum, all these other coins fall a lot higher, 13, 12, right? It's because what happens, another thing that happens too is that when people sell the altcoins, a lot of times money flows out of the altcoins into Bitcoin. So that will prop up the Bitcoin price a little bit, but dragging the altcoin prices down even lower. And the reverse also happens, right? So when the price goes up, when Bitcoin spikes up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, the altcoins will rise at a higher rate because that flow from the money from Bitcoin flows into the altcoins, right? So Bitcoin, if it's going up, it's going to be kind of retracted a little bit because that money flow is coming out, but the altcoins get propped up higher. So a lot of times the correlation between the altcoins and Bitcoin is exaggerated. Bitcoin drops a little, they drop a lot. Bitcoin goes up a little, they go up a lot. So that's important to know. So that's why you won't be, the reason why you want to know these things is so you won't be panic, right? If you know this is how it works, right? If Bitcoin drops, Ethereum drops. Even though Ethereum may not even have no problems or nothing with it, then you're a lot more calmer, right? Okay, this is normal. But if you don't know these things, you think this is not normal. What's going on? I got to sell everything. So it's important to understand how the market works. It's important to understand how all these things fit together, how all these things go, because without that, you're gonna panic, emotion's gonna take over. If you have knowledge gaps in your head, you fill those gaps with panic. So we got appreciate Jonathan for that super chat of 19.99. Thank you guys. Deborah Ray, thank you for that super chat also. I really appreciate that. Your description link doesn't work. I just clicked it. So I'll put the link here in the thing. So let me put the link in the chat. Give me a second. There it is. Just put the link in the chat. So you guys should have it. I'll put it over here too. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and block this person block. It's kind of weird, man, is that people I mean, after 10 years, man, of Bitcoin being after all these banks getting into it, after all these things happening, people still try to say it's a scam. Now, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to say this. If you believe at this point, and I'm not trying to put anybody down, I'm just trying to tell you guys where your thinking is. At this point, if you believe that Bitcoin is a scam, then your critical thinking skills don't work. And I'm sorry, man. I hate to say these things. I don't want to put anybody down. But I mean, just look at. I'm gonna try to do it from an unbiased perspective because I love cryptocurrency. I love this technology, but from an unbiased perspective, okay, I'm standing by. I don't know anything about Bitcoin. All right, so Bank of America's involved, J.P. Morgan's involved, PayPal's involved. Mastercard, Visa, they're involved. Elon Musk is a big supporter. Mark Cuban's a big supporter. A lot of celebrities, a lot of actors are getting in it. Ecuador, El Salvador just made it is a national currency. And another country over in Europe did it. A lot of countries are passing regulations for it. All these people are making money. Now, all of these data points would tell me that there's no way it's a scam. Now, it may drop, it may not work. I could say that, well, it's not going to work. Or, well, that's just all a big pipe dream. Or, well, it's just something. I could say those things, but if you say it's a scam, then there's something wrong with your thought process, man. I'm being honest. It's got to be. It's got to be. Now, or either you're mad because you didn't get in early enough, you're mad because some of your friends made money, or your critical thinking skills don't work. And you need to work on that, man. Because it's not, or you misusing the word scam. It's something going on because the word scam don't work with Bitcoin. It just doesn't. So like I said, if you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. Also like this content. I'd really appreciate that if you like to give me a like. Okay, that's another one, Christopher. Yeah, you can also, now they allow you to put Bitcoin in your IRAs and your 401ks. So all these banks are scams? That doesn't even make sense. And that's what I'm saying. Anybody that says it's a scam at this point is something wrong, man. I mean, maybe you could say, I don't believe it's going to be successful, or I don't believe it's going to work, or this is going to blow up in people's faces. Yeah, that I don't believe that, but I could say I could at least respect that opinion. I could respect that opinion. But for somebody to say it's a scam, I'm sorry, man. You need to work on your critical thinking skills. You need to understand things a little bit more. And you need to get, change your mindset. Change your mindset. Speculation, yes, that's right. It's a good point, Alina. Speculation, yes, scam, no. You cannot say it's a scam anymore. It's too much, too many people, too many big names, too many banks behind it. So all these banks not going to get into a scam. You think JP Morgan has not put the best experts in the world on this stuff and hired the best people to make sure that they were making a good investment? They're going to lose billions of dollars on a scam or look bad. They're not going to do that, man. Somebody says, this is my first live content and I don't know much about Bitcoin. How do I start making money with you? Well, I would start with the classes. Click the link in my bio and start out with those. There's classes to get you caught up on how all this works. You can also, this class is also on YouTube, but my classes I think are better than everybody else's because I know how to. I'm a very good teacher. I was a college teacher for a while, but It's up to you. But like I said, a lot of people do have a great success with my classes because I have a great approach and the way that I explain things make people understand it a lot better. So, Robert, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but that's a great start too. Uh, Let me put my Instagram on here for people who haven't. So here's my Instagram. Bitcoin's not going to a dollar. I promise you that. But back to what I was saying is it's just not going to happen, man. It's just never going to happen. And maybe if that's what people want to happen, but it's not going to happen. So I want to talk a little bit about. So we said we're going to talk about Bitcoin going to zero. We talk about that. So we want to talk about. Somebody asked me another question about mana and. So this is what I. This is okay. So this is the point I was going to make. Right. Let's go back to that. So we're talking about the metaverse, right? So the thing about the crypto market could be falling, but this is the metaverse market could be actually rising. So it's going to be a interesting time this year because crypto and the metaverse are linked. So if crypto falls, we could have a situation that if cryptos like mana and sand go up 3, 4, 500%, maybe even higher, while crypto's falling. Right, and that could possibly happen. I kind of think it will. I think even if the crypto market does fall, I think that this metaverse movement is happening right now with Facebook, with Microsoft, with a lot of big companies, are actually going to push those individual cryptos up. So, like we said, there's always uh, opportunity in the market if we find it, right? We got a super chat from Kevin. Starting fresh, would you invest in BTC or ETH? From right now, today, if I had some money, I'd put in Ethereum. And I'll tell you why. It's because of that exaggerate. If I had money today and I had to invest today, now I wouldn't invest nothing right now. But if I absolutely had to, somebody told me, look, man, I'm gonna give you $5,000. You have to invest right now. So I would pick Ethereum because Ethereum is like I said, because if you look at the chart and look, it almost happens 95% of the time, is that when Bitcoin drops a little, Ethereum drops a lot, right? But then when Bitcoin recovers a little, Ethereum recovers a lot. So the spread is huge. If you get Ethereum 15% down, then Bitcoin recovers and it's 15% up, you just made 30% of your money. And now in Bitcoin, you may only make 10 when it recovers because of and the reason is because of the exaggerated correlation. So if I had $5,000, I had to put it in today into something, I would choose Ethereum. Ethereum has a higher upside long term, and it also has a higher upside short term, and it has a more probability of you making money. Um, you making money, in the short term. I appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you so much for definitely plugging in. Love the way you explain things. I appreciate that, man. I put a lot of work into how I explain things, right? I even hired a speech coach years ago so I can explain things a lot better. I'm still working on it. It's always ways to improve, but one of my hobbies is trying to figure out how to explain things better, right? Because that's what I want to do. I just want to make sure we get the information out and everybody's able to understand it 100% because understanding and knowledge is very, very important in wealth building, right? Because a lot of times that'll get you farther than knowledge and understanding and execution will get you farther than working back breaking work. Backbreaking work will only get you so far. You have to understand how to execute, have knowledge to execute to be able to move forward in life. And you don't have to really work that hard. If you have the right knowledge at the right time, working, you don't have to do nothing, right? Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this Nellish person, whatever this is. Let me see. I thought I blocked her. There we go. She's blocked, or he's blocked. I don't know what it is. I thought I blocked him. But like that's what I'm saying is that even in this time, is that like I said, Kevin, I appreciate your super chat. But even at a time like this, right, is that I think that man and sand still have potential to go up, even in a bear market, because of what's happening with the metaverse and what's going on with all of that, and all the companies putting a lot of money into this. So that's what I think It's happening right now. The right knowledge at the right time is 100 times more important than me working hard for a year. And thing about it, even like, and I don't want to bring up the because Hitler was an evil man, right? But Hitler even had a quote one time. He said that he said, what did he say? It was actually it shows you how people think, man. He was like, he said, he said one brilliant idea at the right time is worth more than 100 years of backbreaking work, right? Like I said, I don't condone anything he did, but man, but it kind of makes sense. But back to what I was saying, uh, when you think you should jump into Bitcoin, just keep falling. Sandbox and Mana. That's what I'm saying is that I believe that it will. Sandbox and Mana are going to do extremely well, like I said. So I need you guys to do two things for me, right? If you haven't already subscribed to this content, please subscribe to my channel. Let's grow this channel to 100,000. Also, if you haven't liked the video, please do so. And also, if you're on your social media or whatever like that, just share this live. I mean, share this live video with as many people as possible. Because what we do is we create circles of winners. We bring our friends, bring our family, bring our coworkers into this movement. And now we got people around us that can help us grow, help us gain knowledge, help us find opportunities that maybe we wouldn't have been able to do on our own. So you have to bring people in for that. So we got a super chat, right? So uh, let me see. So Denzel Gibson says, how do you feel about IOTA? Now, IOTA is it's probably my favorite crypto out of every crypto that's out there, right? And it's because of the technology, right? I'm explaining two things to you and why I like IOTA so much. One reason is that IOTA is feeless. That means that like right now, if I wanted to send Denzel 25 cents worth of Bitcoin, it probably cost me more in the fees just to be able to send it because somebody has to pay the miners and all this stuff. But with IOTA, there's no fees. So I could send that's called a micro payment, a payment, small payment that I have to send to Denzel, which right now that's impossible because if let's say I wanted to take quarters over the internet for something, I was going to take them from a billion people. You couldn't do it through credit cards because they're going to charge you 3.5%. You would lose your money in the credit card fees. So you'd have to do that and do some other way. That's why a lot of times these companies make you buy a bunch of buy a bunch of like let's say the dollars on Roblox. You got to buy $30 at one time, then you use it within the game because it's too expensive to take micro payments, right? But IOTA, with Bitcoin, you can't even do that because the fees will be more than the money you're sending. With credit cards, you can't do it because once again, the fees will be more than the money you're sending. IOTA is feeless. And XRP is a low fee too, but IOTA is feeless. So if I want to send you 5 cents of IOTA, Denzel, I wouldn't have to pay for it. So you just get your 5 cents and we're both even, right? So what's one of the biggest powers of IOTA is the micro payments. And that's what's called machine to machine payments. So let's say, for example, your car wanted to pay a toll booth without you being involved, right? That's a machine to machine payment. IOTA would work extremely well for that, right? And another thing, right, is that IOTA I think it's like 3 currencies out there that are what's called quantum proof, right? And what does quantum proof mean? Right now, the computers that we use every day are classic computers. They process information in a line, right? So let's say, for example, let me find a book. Give me a second. The way that computers process information right now, right, is that we got this book here, right? So in this book, we got a bunch of pages, right? So how does a human read this book? A human has to go through every single page one by one till we get to the end. So every page takes a moment of time, right? Maybe a second, maybe what, even a human may do one a minute. Now a computer could do one every, you read one millionth of a second, right? But well, a small book like this don't matter because the computer will go right through it in like 3 seconds. But let's say we had a billion books, and each page took like a quarter of a, like let's say a millionth of a second. Now the computer would take days to read through the books. Let's say we had 5 billion books. Now the computer would take 10 days to read through the books. Even though every page was only like 1 millionth of a second, there's billions and billions and billions of pages, right? So a class computer has to work through work through like that, one after another. Even though they do it at an extreme fast rate, they have to still go through one through another. So if so, I don't want to break your password. I don't want to break your password. Like in anything, let's say I want to break your Bitcoin wallet private key, which is a sort of password. What I could do is I could set up a computer and just do every possible combination of every password that exists. Now it may take the computer a while, but eventually I'd figure it out, right? The longer the password is, the harder it is to do that. That's why they make you add numbers and all this stuff to your passwords. But the shorter it is, the easier it is to do, right? But with enough time, my computer would eventually break that. But right now, if I set up the fastest computer in the world, the fastest classic computer in the world, to break a Bitcoin private key, it would take 30 years to get through all those possibilities because there's so many of them. It's billions and billions and trillions of them. So a quantum computer, which is they're building right now, which they already have one that exists, but it's just not good enough. It doesn't do things in serially in a row like that. It takes these books, if it's one book, it does it all in 1 second. Because what happens, a quantum computer reads all the pages at once. So because it's doing it all at once, it don't matter how many books you have. I could have one book, a billion books, a quadrillion books. It don't matter because the quantum computer reads them all at once. So the time it takes for a quantum computer to read information, regardless of how big it is the same time. So a quantum computer could break every possible password that's ever been created in less than a second. I don't care how long it is, how small it is, it doesn't matter. That includes Bitcoin private keys and most crypto private keys. Now, if that happens, that means that most cryptos are worthless because they'll all be hacked and taken. IOTA is one of the few cryptos that is quantum proof that you cannot use this kind of computer to break the passwords, break the wallets, and get into people's money. IOTA is one of the only few that are doing that. IOTA is one of, like we said, one of the most quantum proof cryptocurrencies out there. You don't have to pay gas to move IOTA. IOTA is feeless. Now, I don't know what you're doing, but you may have to pay. You don't have to pay gas to move IOTA. IOTA is not on the Ethereum blockchain, so I think you're wrong about that, B. Carter. Maybe they charge you a fee to withdraw it from an exchange or something. But if I send my money from one IOTA wallet to another, they don't charge for that within the IOTA blockchain. You don't get paid. You don't have to pay for that. Like I said, if you guys, I'll answer some questions, but if you do a super chat at the bottom and show your support for the channel, I'll answer those questions. I'll prioritize those questions. There we go. So he says, what about BSV? Could that go up now? Let's take a look at BSV, what he's talking about. I don't like this coin at all. I don't like Craig Wright though. Craig Wright is the creator of Bitcoin SV, and he claims he's Satoshi with no evidence. So I don't really like this that much. But like I say, it could go up. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't really follow this one too much, but I don't really like it because I know who the founder is, and I think he's a fraud. But that's my opinion, and I know some of you guys may like it, but that's just what I think, right? I mean, it's a good technology and it's a good coin, but I don't know. But I guess I don't like the way he's going around saying he's Satoshi with no evidence. And Satoshi, for those you don't know, is the creator of Bitcoin. He had a big court case about it too, and he never brought any real evidence that he was Satoshi. But like I said, the questions that if you do a super chat, I will prioritize those questions, and it also shows support for the channel and the platform. So here's a question. Somebody says, and I'm gonna tell you guys, somebody says, where do you buy your cryptos? What platforms do you use? You never answer this question. If somebody asks you that, never answer the question. I'm gonna tell you why, because hackers get this. This is information that a hacker could use against you. You never tell anybody, you never put a screenshot of your crypto buys. You never put it, you don't do these things because this is what hackers want to hear. They want to hear, I'm not saying you're a hacker, but I'm saying if a hacker did hear this, now they can attack me because they have more information about where I keep my, you don't ever tell anybody these things. You don't tell anybody these things, right? We got 329 likes. So, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't liked the content, please like it. And I'd really appreciate that from you guys. I appreciate that super chat, A Gamble 8810. I really appreciate you for that. Thank you. So somebody says cold storage. I mean, like, there was. I told somebody this a while. I told somebody this earlier, right? Is that it don't happen that much before. I mean, much anymore. But I'm gonna tell you guys a story of what used to happen in crypto. Now I've been in crypto for a while. I was in it before Coinbase, all this stuff. So back in the day, man, is that this is how it worked, man. Is that you would and I didn't do this, but like I said, I heard stories about it and I've seen it happen in my, in front of me. Like if you wanted to buy Bitcoin, like a large amount, like $10,000, you'd have to meet somebody in the street and then you'd meet the guy and you would transfer the Bitcoin to him over the phone. Once it was verified or confirmed, he'd throw you a duffel bag of money and that'd be the end. You don't even know who this dude is, basically, right? That's how it used to be before Coinbase, before all these apps. There was no apps or nothing like that. Crypto had to be sold like that in 11, 12. I think Coinbase came out in 13. So 11 and 12, that's how you sold your Bitcoin. I used to meet a guy at the dog track down here, and that's how I got my first Bitcoins because he was the only one. He's charged me 7% too. So so during that time, 13, 14, and 15, but especially it didn't happen in the US, but it was happening in Europe. People were online talking about how much Bitcoin they had, whatever. Then next day, dudes would show up at your house and they would get you, they would torture you and make you give up your hardware keys and hardware wallets. And then once they got what they wanted, they'd kill you and move on. And that happened a lot in like 15, 14 and 15 and 16. So that's what I'm saying. It hasn't happened in the US. It hasn't happened much since then. But I would be careful to tell anybody where you keep your Bitcoin, where it's at, where don't tell anybody any of that information because that can be used against you possibly to do anything. So you got to be careful, right? So, like we said, we got a question. Can you explain a hardware wallet, right? So let's explain what it is. So we got two types of crypto wallets. One's called a cold storage device. One's a hot storage device, right? So a hardware wallet is what's called a cold storage device. Now let's explain what a hot wallet device is, right? So a hot storage device. So hot storage is like if I got my Bitcoin in Coinbase as a hot wallet, it's a hot wallet, right? If I got my so that means that I can get access to it whenever I want to. I could be overseas. I can open it up. I can do it on any phone, any device. I can get to it. It's hot, right? So some people don't feel secure with that because they're like, well, if I can log into my Coinbase account from Europe, why can't a hacker do it? So that's a little, they could. So some people are like, well, I'm not safe with that. So I want to put it on a hardware device, one that I have physical access to and nobody else has physical access to. So that's what a hardware wallet is. It's a device on which you store your Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency on a physical device and you put that physical device somewhere. Now, nobody can get to your crypto unless they have access to this physical device. So that greatly reduces the risk of anybody stealing any crypto, anything like that for you. It greatly reduces it. Um, and and also like a lot of people see that as more safe because you can you don't have to you don't have to worry about people hacking anything like that. So we got another question here. So new to crypto, any recommendations on what to purchase? Looking to take some of your classes as well. Well, right now, like I said, my opinion in this is I'm just going to stay out of it for a little while and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen with the market, so it looks kind of shaky. So I'm going to sit out of it for a while and see what happens. Right. So somebody says, we got A Gamble says, what do you think about Switch reward card? I don't know. Let's take a look at it. I don't even know what that is. Digital awards. So using maybe I don't know. I haven't looked at this, but this I know what the concept is. Uh, uh, I mean, I don't know much about this, but like I said, I would do your research. But it looks pretty legit. I mean, I've seen concepts like this before, where you use basically you can buy, sell, and store your Bitcoin on a credit card that you can spend when you want to, and it converts it to like it's like a debit card, so it converts it to cash and you can spend it. So yeah, I mean, I've seen these before. I haven't heard of this particular brand or company, but I think this idea is good. It's new to crypto. Any recommendations of what to purchase? Like I said, is that right now I'm just staying out of it. If it falls a little bit more, I may buy some Ethereum first, and Bitcoin second. But I'm going to see what happens over the next 2 weeks because I don't know. We'll have to see. And another thing about these hardware wallets, right? I want to tell you something else about it. Because I've seen so many things happen over the last 10 years. All right, when hardware wallets first came out, it really wasn't a lot of hardware wallets before like 2016, 17. The first ones start coming to the market around then. So when those hardware wallets came out, people really didn't know much about them. So what some hackers did is they bought some hardware wallets. Remember, they were a lot simpler. They're more complicated now, more secure. But back then, they took a bunch. They like I think they were treasures or something. And they modified them inside, right? So that means that instead of you depositing into that wallet, they just modified it inside it. So you would deposit to their Bitcoin wallet, which is not even in the hardware wallet, right? So then they put them on eBay for like half price. So a bunch of people thought they were getting great deals on these hardware devices. They were buying them, right? So hundreds of people bought them. Hundreds of people, hundreds of people deposited their Bitcoin into what they thought was the hardware wallets when it was actually a wallet that the hackers controlled. Hackers made a bunch of money and disappeared. So a lot of people lost a lot of money. So the way you get away with that, the way you get around that, is that you only buy hardware wallets from the manufacturer site. I wouldn't even trust Amazon. I would only buy hardware wallets from the manufacturer's site. And when you get it, that's when they start doing all this too, because of what happened. There should be tape on the outside. There should be security features so that you know it hasn't been opened already. So be very careful with those because remember they were hacked before. We got a question here. So it says, do you believe marijuana stocks are good investments? They could be depending on the right one. It just depends on the right site, right? Well, I haven't really looked much into marijuana sites over the last couple of years, but yeah, I think marijuana is going to be legalized soon. And if that does happen, the stocks are going to do extremely well after that. Probably the next day, even on a rumor that they're going to legalize Bitcoin federally is going to cause marijuana stocks to skyrocket. Like I said, I hope you guys have a nice day. Uh, So like I said, I hope you guys have a nice day. I'm gonna end it for now. Give you guys a couple of minutes to if you want to do any more super chats or you appreciated what we talked about, you want to do anything like that. I'll give you guys about a couple of minutes to ask any questions. So don't send some money in the super chat or whatever you want to do for the next 2 minutes. But if you have a question, also you can ask that and I'll answer those. So like I said, I appreciate you guys. Make sure if you haven't done so to subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video. And if you have any questions, anything like that, you can always DM me. You can always write me on Instagram. And like I said, as I appreciate you guys, I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes. You can uh, add those super chats if you want to. Like I said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.